Welcome to our first attempt at a podcast called Faith and Hustle. My name is Garett Baker.
I'm Bryan Hollingsworth.
And I'm Sean Bryan.
And we're going to figure this thing out.
One step at a time.
You're the guest, so you can ramble on as much as you want.
Okay. I don't get a timer. Okay.
Yeah, but I get a timer.
Yeah, he mostly just does that to me and Garett.
Well, you get to me talking about something that maybe I'm passionate about, you may have to put a timer on me. Either that or if I start stuttering enough, you'll just say, okay, let's shut him down now.
I'm not allowed to talk.
I don't know. I haven't met you before, but, they say you're a pretty big guy, so they probably ain't going to mess with you. They'll let you talk. We'll just edit it out later.
Yeah, well, it's fine. It just looks like this. So. I'm nice. I'm still a nice guy. So.
No, my wife has actually said we need to rename the podcast to Who Can Talk the Most, Bryan or Baker?
Bryan.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I know it's me. I talk the most.
Welcome, Brandon Fontenot. I want you
Brandon.
to introduce yourself. Hopefully I spelled your name right when I said it.
No, I'm sure you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's got a pink shirt on because it's October, or just because it's cool to wear a pink shirt?
This is purple.
Yeah.
I would think it was a purple shirt. I have a pink one at the house.
I think it's salmon.
Salmon?
If you want to be
Salmon.
technical
Okay.
about
All
it.
right. Well, that's kind of salmon. Here we are with a bunch of guys in a room together, and we're talking about salmon shirt. It's purple, guys. It's purple. We have a...
Well, we wanted to bring you here. You've done a lot in the CrossFit world. Man of faith, a entrepreneur. You work, you hustle, and one of these days you're going to be as cool as an Ironman, hopefully. But in the meantime, you're getting by with some decent CrossFit stuff here. So I'm saying that to kind of belittle what you did, but it was pretty incredible what you've been through and the journey you've been on with the whole aspect of it. And we wanted to get your perspective. We want to get to know you, but we also want to find out through the course of this hour or so, however long we want to go, where you got started, how you got started, why you're doing it, what got you there, but then also all the other parts. There's a lot of interviews with a lot of athletes, and we talk about their great achievements, but we want to kind of know the rest of the story because there's more to it than just that one thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my personal goal is to dig into that and find out all those supporting roles, all that stuff that you do behind the scenes that isn't seen on that 5 minutes on stage.
All right.
So
You're going to have to
we're going to ask those questions.
Thank you. Because I was like, okay, I have a lot of stuff to remember there.
So that's kind of an idea.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on getting my name right at the beginning. So,
Hey, so your name is Tristan Fontenot, is that correct?
up to this point, after memorizing everything he just said, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Man, yeah, I want to hear about Brandon, man. I mean, tell us about your fitness journey. Where did it start? Have you always been six-pack abs, or is this a recent type thing?
No, this is recent. I actually, I'm Brandon Fontenot, originally from Reeves, Louisiana. I played a little baseball in high school, ran track. Only did it just to get out of school, basically. I was pretty good at baseball as a catcher for baseball. I played that through all Little League, Dixie Youth, and then on through high school. But then I actually moved out when I was 16, just some family issues, stuff like that. Moved to Moss Bluff. Then rented a trailer in a trailer park on Park Road. I actually go back there every once to just kind of reminisce on old times. And moved there, worked at Sears Automotive, drove back and forth to Reeves until I graduated high school. And then later on went to work for an oil company, Newport Drilling Fluids. I mean, just was chasing the money, didn't know, I was scared to death. I moved out, didn't know what to do after that. Graduated high school, like I said, went to work for the Newport Drilling Fluids. Did that for about a year, I guess, and then they were going to change up a few things. At this time, I wasn't in any kind of fitness thing, really didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of lost. Later on, they were changing up how they were going to do their operation, and they were working out of Huntsville, Texas at the time. Well, they said, hey, we're going to change it up. You're going to go to work in Houston. You're going to start doing something different. And I kind of got nervous because I didn't know what I was going to be doing. So a guy actually reached out to me and said, hey, I'm opening up an electrical business. He said, I'd like for you to come work for me and go through the electrical local and become an electrician. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I went and started that process to go get to the electrical local at Lake Charles. And then I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, hey, here's your bucket of receptacles and light switches. We wiring up one of them casinos in Kinder, And your job is to put all the receptacles and light switch in every room in this hotel. And that was before I started school. And,
it's real glamorous, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's when I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to school for 2 years to go wire receptacles and light switches in a hotel room for the rest of my life. So there was a man that he kind of was a mentor in my life. He farmed and had cows. And he kind of took me under his wing. And we looked up, his last name was Fontenot as well. So it kind of worked out. But he was about 6'8", and I'm 5'8". So he ended up kind of teaching me the way of life. I didn't really have nobody around. And I ended up buying some cows and started farming rice up to that point. And that pretty much all I did for years. I just farmed and had cows. Never was into fitness. It was just work all the time.
And that was in the Reeves area?
Yeah, Reeves. So he showed me all that. He helped me went and bought my first trailer house. So we went and bought that. And I paid for it with my calf crop for the year. I wasn't married at the time. I guess I did that about 4 or 5 years and just kind of 360 days a year. I mean, every day of the year I was working out there. That's every day. I mean, there was nothing. He used to tell me, he said, hey, if you want to enjoy life, you can do it when you retire. He was kind of a hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it was old school. It was, you just work. So, and that's what people joke whenever they say now, whenever I went and bought my first pair of shorts to started getting healthy, everybody thinks I'm lying, but no, he'd make fun of you. He thought that was, Brando, he said, yeah, it's a sissy.
Yeah,
fight.
shorts come when you wear the jeans out and you cut them off.
Well, yeah, maybe, and then if you go down the Whiskey Chitta for canoeing on a Saturday or something, then you take that stuff off. But yeah, we didn't, all we did was work.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, let me. I just want to make sure that I heard you right.
Okay.
You said I decided to start working out, so I went and bought my first pair of shorts.
Yes.
You legit. You were so country.
Yeah.
Redneck, rice field, Reeves, Louisiana, that all I wore were Red Wings and Wranglers, right? Red Wings and Wranglers.
I didn't wear Red Wings.
You literally didn't
have
have a pair of
some
shorts.
Justin boots at the time.
Oh, so you were cheap. You wouldn't even buy the good boots.
Oh no! I know I couldn't afford them. So, but no, no, that was.
Nice.
But when I left there, I ended up buying me 10 acres. I was like, hey, I'm gonna find me a piece of land. I found me 10 acres. During this time, we saw trees down in Moss Bluff, and for my first house. So me and him went to Moss Bluff, and there was some longleaf pine there that this lady was wanting to get rid of. And some of this stuff, people are probably gonna be like, "This dude's an idiot."
You're not. Garett. Garett's going to prove you wrong so fast here in just a minute.
So, and they're probably. I'm probably. I should be waiting on y'all to ask me these questions, but it's like, where do I stop? I don't know where to put the period.
No, you're great. We'll interrupt you.
So, y'all want to talk about fitness, and I'm giving you this big, but I thought it all just plays a part. So So I ended up. We sawed all the trees down. I was going to build my own house. So we went, and there was a guy. You know the guy, Jeff Johnson. Back then, he had a mill. And you know him, Bryan, I believe, don't you? Jeff Johnson.
Sorry, who's that?
Jeff Johnson, when he had Circle B Sawmill in Reed.
Yep, I sure do.
Yeah, see, Jeff actually milled all the wood from my house that I had built in Reeves. And I bought me 10 acres, moved all the lumber over there, let it dry. Didn't know what I was going to do at the time. And, I'm still young. I got tired of farming and working all the time. So I went to work for F. Miller & Son. So I ended up doing that. And then I met my wife. That was about 20 years ago I met her. About a week after we got married, I decided we was going to start building a house. So,
that's a great way to start a marriage.
Yeah, no kidding. All in the same time. A week later, we poured the slab. Did everything. I had somebody come in and pour the slab and do the plumbing, but we built it from the ground up. At that time, somebody said, hey, the railroad's hiring. So I said, all right, well, I'll put in for a job for the railroad. I quit doing bridges and stuff like that and went to work for the railroad. And then started pounding the weight on after that. That's whenever, I was happy, I was married, stuff like that. And
yeah, it was a different kind of fitness. You was fitness food in my mouth.
Oh yeah, between that and then moved to Texas. I moved to Texas, got in. Everybody in Texas ride 4-wheelers. They'd go mud riding and drink beer on the weekends. Shoot, I'm like, yeah, this is fun. So they'd cook, we'd drink beer, we'd ride 4-wheelers, and I mean that was the way of life.
So you went from 130 pounds to...
No, I never. I was probably about 200, 205.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you went up.
Yeah, I went 205 to 255.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so my heaviest was at 255 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so then that's when I decided, I ended up moving back to Louisiana whenever that man who raised me got cancer. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to move back to help take care of him. And that's whenever I was like, man, I am overweight. I'd been down to tie my boots or something like that. I had to hold my breath to tie my boots. And, you do it in intervals after that because
How old were you at this time?
35.
Okay.
35. That's when I decided, hey, I need to do something. I was in, I believe, a 36 or a 37 gene. So I was like, hey, George. And I call my wife George. I don't know why. Maybe it's easy to spell. I don't know. So her name is Kristen, by the way. But just for, okay, we're going to
She's
keep
a beautiful lady. She doesn't look like a George.
No, it's just awesome.
Yeah, so,
like that was his reason.
and I don't know why. Everybody, I'll holler at her, hey, George. Everybody, I don't know why, but it is. Just go with it. So she went and bought me some shorts and from Academy or somewhere. And I said, all right. So I joined a little 24-hour fitness gym in Kinder. I was like, well, I'm going to go in there and get on their treadmill before work. Nobody could see me. I was embarrassed to wear them shorts inside there. And I was working in Kinder for the railroad, and they had a shower there. So I said, I'll go in there and run a mile every day. It was a run, walk. It was just until a mile hit on the treadmill. It wasn't running that whole mile. And I said, well, I'll do that every day. And I said, I'll quit sodas and donuts.
I love donuts.
Oh man!
Donuts for breakfast.
But see, I was picky about the donuts. I didn't like Shipley's donuts or Dunkin' Donuts. I wanted to go old school
Cake donuts.
donuts.
On my love
I
language.
got onto those right when at the end of my journey. I was always a glazed donut dude. I mean, glazed, to be glazed all over your belly and stuff like that. But I wanted the ones coming straight off where they were hot.
Yeah.
Like the old-fashioned donut store.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like the one.
Like Dino's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dino's donuts is magic.
Yeah.
Dude, why is it fat guys always love donuts?
I don't
like
know.
that's a
But
common
I think the
thing.
secret, I think the trick is the donut holes. Because you could get half dozen of donuts and then they just give you a whole bunch of donut holes. You're like, well, that's just bonus point.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even count as far as calories.
We ordered some today.
Oh
they gave me 13.
no, yeah, 0 calories.
Yeah.
Zero
No,
calories.
I mean, you
Yeah.
pop them like popcorn, they don't do nothing. I think I could eat them today without getting weight.
It's like a frequent flyer mile.
Yeah. But you can't stop like a Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. So I don't even know where y'all got me excited about donuts. Y'all got the popcorn. Man, that's really got me going there. Forgot where I was at.
It doesn't matter. I'm happy with donuts.
Yeah.
We
All right,
went
we'll
from
end that
George
here.
to donuts.
Yeah. George's Donuts right there.
Yeah. Hey.
So I ended up just running, and somebody said, hey, why don't you do a 5K? And it was in DeQuincy at the Cannonball 5K. And everybody, when I do something, everybody knows about it. It's like, it's one of the ways that I can't back out.
So some accountability.
Yeah. So,
tell somebody.
Yeah, I tell everybody. I mean, it's like everybody thought I was running a marathon because I'm running a 5K. I'm like, I'm running a 5K next week. I'm like bragging on it. So I trained probably 6 months for a 5K, and I was like, man, I'd like to die. Well, I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So next thing you know, I do the Ainsley's Angel Sunset Run about 3 or 4 months later, and I got in with another group of people running. They said, hey, man, we're going to go to Sealy, Texas, to Stephen F. Austin State Park and do a half marathon at night on trails with a headlamp.
Garrett's getting high.
Yeah, that's like, whoa.
You
like your progression was like,
I know, we're extreme next.
was like that Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
You just tried it, and next thing you know, you're an addict.
No, well, honestly, it started like in November running a mile, and it was like March or April before I ran my first 3 miles, 5K.
Yeah.
And then in August, I ran another 5K. And then they had, I believe that's the same year that they had that run for the state trooper that died. And so I did that one. And then I had signed up for the Louisiana quarter marathon. It was like a 6 mile run or something like that.
About 10K.
And so, whenever this guy had said, he said, hey man, why don't you come to Sealy, Texas and do this thing at night? I'm like, man, that sounds pretty interesting. So you had a headlamp on and you're running through these trails. And it was like 3-4 mile loop. And so I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. So I was like, well, did a half. I was like, man, I want to do a full. So I ended up upping my registration to a full at the Louisiana Marathon. And the next year I was hungry for more. So I'm like,
You did the full marathon.
Did the full marathon.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. It was within a year's time I did it from a 5K to a full, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
how many donuts did you eat along the way?
Nothing. I honestly, when I quit.
You cut them out.
When I quit, there's 2 things that I have not went back to since I started this when I was 35, and that's donuts and any kind of cold drink. I haven't drank a Dr. Pepper.
Sugar.
Yeah. I mean, I would drink a Dr. Pepper like 4 or 5 of them a day. But
So wait a minute. You said you ain't ate a donut or drank a soda in 10 years.
Yes,
in a decade.
That's correct.
Oh my! I don't know if I can trust you, Brandon.
That's dedication.
I don't know.
That's dedication.
No, honestly, because those are two things. The way I look at it is like an alcoholic. And alcoholism, to me, in my personal opinion, it could be in anything. It doesn't have to be alcohol. I mean, whatever you're addicted to. I mean, it could be like donuts and Dr. Pepper. And if that's one thing, I just say, well, if that was one thing I'd quit numerous times, and I always went right back to it. And then it's one thing that was my crutch. Like like working right now, if I start in the middle of work and I need to start thinking, like somebody smokes cigarettes or something like that, well, that would be the thing. I'd be like, I'm gonna go get a Dr. Pepper and a candy bar.
So that was your trigger.
Yeah, that would settle my nerves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do not have that discipline.
But then, do you want to quit them? I mean, honestly, all right, I mean, how many do you eat? I mean,
it depends. If they're hot, hot, it's on.
You're like a cold glass of milk with that. Yeah.
I know how many I eat. All of them.
But I mean, you eat them like every day?
No, not every day.
Okay.
Probably every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're sitting here at a negative 2% body fat, and I'm not. And I burn a lot of calories, but the difference is, for sure, you cannot out-exercise your bad diet. It's not possible.
Oh, no. But not only that, it's the way you feel during your exercise if you have a well-balanced diet. And I can go there with a diet here in a minute, but that was a triggering point there. You said something, I was like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were kind of talking about, so we escalated to the marathon.
Yeah.
And then we went back to donuts.
Yeah, no, we always go back to the donuts.
So we're going to do that a lot today.
But yeah, cold drinks and stuff like that. There was something I was going to say about that. Like, but it was like I would be worried. Oh, energy drinks. I mean, I have an addictive personality. I do the same thing with energy drinks. If somebody says, well, you can just have one, like a Bang or a Rang or something like that. No, I drink 3 of them a day. I like the taste of it. I like the way I feel, and so then I got to the point where I gotta cut them all out, and that's what I did. I mean, I would hide them. I mean, I told people in my small group. I admitted to them, I'm like, dude, I'm on these energy drinks. Kristen don't even know I'm drinking 3 of them a day. I'm like, I go sneak. I go to different gas stations. If a gas station says, hey, where you been at? I won't go back there because they're starting to recognize me.
That's.
Hey, I do the same thing with Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh my God!
Like if I go on a store run, like if she's like, go to the store, I'm buying me a piece of candy and I'm gonna eat it before I get home, and then I hide the body afterwards.
Yeah, no, I've done that before too.
Yeah, and I've heard people psychologists talk about it, and others. You know, if you're doing something and you have to hide it from your spouse, might be an issue. It might be a problem. So when you're having those thoughts, whether it's Reese's cups or donuts, I'm guilty. I'm not
hiding it from my spouse. It's really a habit of hiding it from the kids.
Well, there's that. Yeah, I have hit Chick-fil-A on the way home, and that's Jesus chicken, right?
It
yeah.
is.
And I'll get home and clean the car out, not because I'm worried about the car.
Hey, I think you're allowed. I think we're allowed to hide it from those unemployed people who live in our house, man. They ain't paying for them sweets. They ain't paying for them double stuffed Oreos.
I'm not
Stay away from them.
I'm going to stop taking it to the trash can and take it straight to their bedroom and set it on their bed, the empty bag.
There you go. But no, that's what.
That's right.
Dude,
y'all sound so pathetic when you're like, yeah, I don't want to go to the same gas station when they recognize me and stuff.
No,
I mean,
I'm not lying.
You sound like a dude it's like looking for a lady of the night on the corner. Like it sounds very shady, shady, bro.
But it got to the point. I'm like, man, I must have a problem. I said, these people here notice me. I'm coming here a lot, and I'm like, okay, I've got to go to a different gas station. So I'd go to a different gas station. But then I got to the point where I would drink a Bang. You know, that's a type of energy drink. And then at noon, I'd drink me a 3D, a different type of energy drink, and then I would just change the flavor at 3 on the other one.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's just, that's different caffeine, so you're not really hurting your body. But it was, but I wake up at 2:30 in the morning and go to the gym. So it was like, I need that boost, but I didn't really need the boost. It was just fulfilling that void, that addicting void. So, I tried to quit all that, and I'm quitting that.
So we get through all that. You're fighting the diet. You run the marathon. How did it feel to cross the finish line and run the marathon?
The marathon
mentally,
emotionally. I can still, to this day, that was, I forget how many years, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, probably 9 years, something like that. I can still remember that last mile. It was looking at the state capitol. You're running, and it was like my whole life from my childhood until I was at that point, to training up to that point, waking up every morning, all the flashbacks. I mean, for 10 minutes there, you just lived your whole life on that last mile. It was just when I come across emotion, just I mean, it just
the Louisiana Marathon. Many people have run it. For those that haven't, they're kind of mean because they make you go over this bridge. It's a pretty flat marathon, but you have to go over an overpass, which feels like you're climbing Mount Everest. And then that last mile, or half to 3/4 of a mile, you're just a straightaway looking at the Capitol, and it takes forever to get there.
But honestly, it for the first one, I don't even know how long it took because
Doesn't matter.
The people, you have all these people, and that was what's amazing about running in a marathon, is all these people that are just like you, just like how I was a year ago, thinking you're doing something remarkable that they can't do. And it's like you feed off of that, but you can't explain it to you unless you've done it. Is sit there and feel that energy that they're giving you, thinking like you're some kind of pro athlete.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there running. You grew up in Reeves, Louisiana. You moved out when you were 16, moved in a trailer park. I mean, all that stuff you're thinking about. I was a nobody, scared to death. What I was going to do, I grew up on, I didn't want to live in it that way. And
so you found a way to create enough space in your life to train for a marathon, still work a job, still have a family, and take a Saturday off to go run 26.2 miles.
Yeah, and that's what's been so great about it. Is my family is super supportive. My wife, my kids, probably my biggest fan is my son. My daughter, she would run with me until I burned her out, and I tried to make her run faster, and I didn't realize I turned around and she's hyperventilating because she couldn't breathe because she was afraid to tell Daddy she couldn't go no more. But my wife she doesn't really do any of it, but she supports me in every bit of it. And like going in the mornings, I wake up before work, go run. We actually started a group in Reeves just to try to promote more people we're called the Reeves Runners. It was just to kind of get people to do stuff. I mean,
I can feel.
How could you? I don't know.
There he is.
I don't know that we can actually get Reeves people to run.
Hey,
I think that is a lofty.
At the time, it was pretty
that's
cool.
impressive.
Yeah, at the time, you had a group because, if you have somebody in short pants with a shirt off running through Reeves, they think you're strange. So it brings attention to you, so they're curious. So whenever you talk about it, everybody wants to do it, and it's just like anything health and wellness wise. People sit there and say, "Well, I don't have time to do that," or I wish I could do that. I had reconstructive surgery on my left knee, ankle surgery. The doctor said I'd never run again, and never did run. So they said, and I'm running 2 marathons and up 10 amount of half.
So take us from there. Up to
Wait, I'm not done making fun of Reeves. I was going to ask him if he had to buy if he had to buy everybody shorts as well. Like, on your first day.
We shared them.
You shared them.
Just wear them and then you turn them inside out and give them
but you remember the tight pants that everybody wears, like the everybody swims in and stuff like that. I just said, hey, just wear your drawers. Yeah. So everybody would go out there in their drawers.
Yeah.
So, but
it was they might have some Russell Athletic.
It was kind of embarrassing. So.
There you go.
Bunch of superheroes
So look,
around, huh?
Fruit of Balloon.
There you go. I got a serious question though. You were talking earlier about your motivations, and you were talking about, hey man, I was just a nobody, young kid, 16-year-old, living in a trailer park. Man, I think we all have a drive whenever we're, as an entrepreneur or as working out or whatever it is, man. Sometimes it's fear. A lot of times it's fear. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's just our families. What motivates you? Like, I'm just curious, what motivates you?
Registering for stuff, doing things that people don't think that's possible. I woke up one morning and said, Kristen, I'm gonna ride my bike to your mom's house. She lives in Crowley. It was for Good Friday. I just did it because if somebody didn't think you could do it. Or why would you do that? And because it feels terrible during the process, but the feeling afterward trumps that feeling during the process, and I just get addicted to that. I believe I'm more addicted to the high afterwards.
Okay. Not
during. The during, you're like, why do I do this? That's like even making the games this year. I was like, I'm never doing this crap again. But the feeling, the feeling you have afterwards, it's good. It's amazing. And then you look at it. you know, a lot of people say you work out to eat what you want, work out to do this, and it's, I don't. It's for a couple of years there, I was kind of lost on what I was doing there. Well, last year, what helped me here is like my walk with Christ. Is last year, I had always used my disabilities and stuff like that, like ADHD or something like that, from reading the Bible. Like, you know, I said, I'll try to listen to the Bible. I'll try to read the Bible. And everybody's like, well, yeah, you know, you need to take this medication. You know, you understand you can't read. Maybe you can do the verbal. And I was like, you know, everybody said I couldn't run because I tore my ACL up and you couldn't run. But yet I trained every day and did a marathon. So why can't I sit there and read my Bible? You know, why can't I train myself how to read? I mean, I could read, but I couldn't comprehend anything I was reading, so it would frustrate me. And it still does. It still does that to me now. And so, but I've taught myself, like, as far as opening up the Bible, in my eyes, it's just way too much. It's overwhelming to me. And I don't like my phone. I hate my phone. But when you're reading your Bible app in your phone, you only see a little bit. You don't see 2 or 3 pages, and you don't see the thickness of the book.
Oh yeah, that's right there.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. But you take your phone, and you only see,
right,
you know, however big your screen is. And if you're like me and your vision's going, you blow that up, you really don't see a whole lot.
You just got to run 1 mile or read 1 scripture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One bite at a time.
And so that ended up in how they relate, how fitness and the scripture relate. And when that opened my eyes, I was like, man, it's so true. I mean, the scripture, you know, my life, my journeys in life, all the scars that I have, you want to know what feeds me, or it's because of the scars, and because I can speak about those scars. Well, the same thing goes with your body. You know, I can do the same thing with scripture. That's like, you know, the gym. We have people that come to the gym that said, hey, we need to get fit before we come in there. And I said, well, damn, did you get saved before you went to church?
Hey, that's a true statement.
And it's no different than having a membership to a gym. No different than what you go, because you relate the two the same with church. It's like you can be a member of a church and say, I'm a member of First, or I'm a member of this, whatever church you're a member of. It ain't going to get you nowhere in life. It's no different than having a membership to a gym and not doing anything inside there.
100%.
And if I was 250 pounds and I said, hey, I own a gym, they'd be like, oh, yeah, good job. No different than if I live my life, I say I'm a Christian, and I live my life an unchristian like. You know, if I say I'm better than you for certain things, but yet I'm doing certain things, you know, my walk, it depends on how my walk is.
Yeah.
I don't know where we went with
No,
this.
that's excellent.
No, that's
really good, because that was one of the questions I wanted to ask was how does your faith play into that? And you went right into it. It's a good segue. The effect that you said, exercise, training your body, training your mind, and learning to read the Bible. I would like to hear a little bit more about that, and I'm not even sure the right question to ask, but that's a thing. It's like exercise is folly. Well, no, it's not. You're taking care of God's temple. I mean, you know, you have to take care of your body. How do you answer that when somebody says, "Hey, you just run around in circles"? You're not you're taken away from X, or how does it? Don't get so obsessed with working out. How do you respond to that in your faith, and how does that kind of play in together?
It opens up all these other people that that are scared to go to a church. Like my wife told somebody one day, she said, "Our that's our mission, is inside the gym." I can't go quote scripture to you, but I can tell you how my life's been like, and what, you know, how I went from not going to drugs and alcohol and, you know, and no telling what else. But now I own a gym. I mean, I own a gym, work for the railroad. My path, if you knew my whole life, you'd be like, yeah, you were destined for hell there. You were destined to go straight, you know, to the trailer park. And I mean, nothing wrong with trailer parks. I'm not saying that. But you were destined for that type of lifestyle.
Yeah, for less, not abundance. Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, it was like I broke that curse. And what you were saying is that I'm able to speak scripture to people without them even knowing I'm speaking scripture to them. just by our lifestyle.
You're living it.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
living the
and
scripture.
it's just that's one thing. Is because like in the scripture, and like I said, I'm no Bible scholar or nothing like that, and I don't claim to be one. But the blind's blind. They don't hear, they don't see. They're curious. So if you go ripping, you go in somebody that's a heathen or something like that, and you start you need to go in John 3:16. You need to go to. They just close their mind to you.
Yeah.
That's what they've been done their whole life. That's the reason why they stay away from church.
So living it, setting the example.
Definitely. I think that's, I to this day, I think, and I hate to say it, but I think churches need to blow the doors and windows out of them and just let it out. Church wasn't made for church. I go to church. Somebody told me at work one day, they said, you go to church, you think you're better than me. I said, no, apparently you don't go to church because you think you're better than me. I need that. Because I need that in my life. That's my checkpoint. That's how I can come out and live the way I live. That's what keeps me accountable throughout the week.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have a question. All right, so now that you have a lot of discipline, you work out, that's your lifestyle, and it's flowed over into your Christian walk. Do you notice, and I'm just asking if you notice this, Brandon, now how many pastors are morbidly overweight and nobody says anything about it? Like the Bible's pretty clear about, gluttony. But we don't ever want to talk about gluttony. We don't talk about your drinking and your,
No, we
your trying to walk
honest to
like
God,
crap.
question.
But
No,
we don't want
that
to
is-
talk about gluttony.
Dude, you are hitting it right on the head right there. Because I can sit there and I will touch somebody's here. Because even like whenever you go as far as, and I'm just going to be honest here, gastric bypass surgery or that new shot they got. I'm sorry, but that's kind of like trying to be saved without the work. Without trying to, it's being saved and you're not putting in forth the effort to do anything for it. Well, just like anything, you got to work for it. To be a good, to walk the walk, you gotta work for that. We all heathens, we all fall short of it. He says it in the book that we're going to fall short. It's something you have to work at. Your fitness journey is something you have to work at. Until those bumps and bruises are stuff you learn from. You know that you can look down at your hands or anything scar you got, and you remember exactly what happened to that.
Right.
And the same thing when you walk, like you said, I see it all the time. And my wife is like, you sitting there judging these people. Like, somebody's overweight or they're pigging out, something like that. And I said, no. I said, I just want to talk to them. I just want to sit down and talk to them. Because they get so mixed up. And that's where I was going to go, and we're going to go there now, I guess, about diet. Because everybody's like, there's so much, people are so scared. It's just like, your Christian walk. You got a Catholic church, you got a Baptist church, I got mixed up in this a couple years ago. It scared me to death because about like you have all these different religions and people saying, hey, you have to have evidence of speaking. You've never been saved unless you spoke in tongues. I'm sorry that may be a touchy subject to some people. But with me, it's scary. It scared me. I said, well, hold on. I'm riding down the road and they're talking about, well, I've never done that. Am I saved? You start to question
Your salvation.
Salvation. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, now I know some Mennonites. They don't shave which whenever it is. But then you got these people that are clean shaved. And man, I was scared to death. It was like, okay, well, who's right, who's wrong? And there's like, I go to have these conversations with people at work. And it actually opened up a great field because you're having a discussion about this with people at work that, that you usually don't have discussions with this about. And I'm asking, I'm like, dude, they're like, well, why does it matter? I said, dude, that's the most important thing in the world. If we died right now and I'm not saved, what's going on?
That is a very, very good question, and it's a common question. We have wars over literal religious wars on our planet over different ways of doing things, and it's like we're fighting over the same thing in some ways. But I want to kind of go back to the donut story, right?
Yeah.
My wife's grandfather, who I respect a lot, he was a pastor. He pastored his entire life from the time he was, I want to say around 17, 19, 20 years old, somewhere in there. But in his early young, he did rodeo. And he would not go to a rodeo. Rodeo was off limits for him. But it was his donuts for you. it was a thing for him. So when he became a pastor, when he began ministering, he quit. It was convicted by that. It was a personal conviction. But he also owned horses, and our whole family, my wife's family, they went to rodeos. It was a thing, but he didn't go.
Yeah.
And it was his choice, but it was his conviction, and that was a personal conviction. But he never put that on somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't go to rodeos. That's bad. He's all about the rodeos. Cool. He just wasn't for him. He didn't want to eat the donuts.
Yeah.
So that's a.
But see, what I was getting at that, it was like how the two, like with a diet, you have like so many different diet formulas out there, so many different gyms out there that people are like, I don't know what to do, because you have these fad diets, and everybody that says, hey, you got to do this for this and this and this. I want to weigh this much. I want to lose this much weight. No carb, no fat.
Yeah.
Carnivore, and people are like, and my wife can't stand when I say this, but it's simple. Dieting is simple. We make it hard. We as humans make it hard, because it's like, what do I eat? Well, you know that if you go and grab a donut or a candy bar, you're not supposed to eat that. That's simple. So just like the churches, they make things so hard because they get mixed up and all that. That's the reason why they're two that relate. In the diet, that's where I'm like, it's just simple. And I don't mean that losing weight is simple, by no means. I mean, if you have to ask me, hey, can I eat this? You pretty much already know the answer to that.
Well, like losing weight is just because I've been from fit to fat probably 10 times in my life, right? So it really is. It's just consistent discipline, right? It's those moments of your life where, and honestly, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, because that was something that I used to love before I tore my Achilles, is I would go on these long runs, and in those long runs, I would hit this meditative state where I was talking to the Lord, and the Lord was talking back, and I would see it around me and all that. And I really do miss it because, but I just don't trust my Achilles. You know what I mean?
No, but you would have to find that other thing. You're exactly right. That was the closest I've ever been to the Lord, running, because that's where I didn't run with a phone, didn't run with music, and I could just get lost. Me and him, we just talk. But then you have to just find, like with me with running was that's whenever what you were saying is it's going to just go right along with what you're saying, is because I don't run anymore, because the doctor said, because he said, hey, your knee, I'm bone on bone on my left knee.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it's best that you quit running as much. And so that's when my wife said she said, why don't you try CrossFit?
Yeah.
Because I got scared, actually, to tell you the truth, because I was like, man, if I can't run, I don't want to get fat again. I was thinking the only way to lose weight is run. And so that's when I got into CrossFit and found that this is what I can do now in place of running. I still run a little bit, but I don't run like, marathon training where you was running, 70 miles a week or something. It's just, I run just what I have to now.
Yeah.
And if I run a long distance, usually it's like once a week. But no, that's finding that other thing that will replace that. And then you don't have to sit there and do fitness. It's a lot of times just being monitoring what we eat. And, I weigh all my food and all that just because I'm goofy and I do that stuff.
Discipline.
Yeah. And you just get nervous about different things. I still have goals that I want to do. And that's how I stay registered up. Like I'm registered for 2 more things. I've got a plan to make the games again next year, and then possibly a half Ironman in October next year.
Yep.
But see, that's the kind of stuff I love.
Variety.
I love the variety of that, but I love the community aspect. Growing up without a family, that's the reason why the gym is amazing to me. The gym's not a business to me. I promise you, I put more money in that gym than I get out of it. But money-wise. But I get more out of it as far as spiritual-wise, because it's like, these people, whenever I had, I don't know how many people run their first half this past January. We ran, I believe we had 13 people or so that went and ran the half marathon in Louisiana. Some of them never done it. And that experience, I got to experience that with them. I mean, I was like doing it for the first time again. You get to experience all the stuff when people lose weight, or they don't have to take any diabetic medicine anymore. their blood pressure's down, and call me what you will, but shoot, I'm excited. It's exciting to me.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with doing that Father for Fitness that I had. It was kind of a selfish act because that was one of them things that helped me get into the Word more. Because I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna be doing this every Saturday, so I've actually got to do some studying here.
Yeah.
So I was helping people, but in turn, I was actually
helping yourself.
For sure. So I was like, well, it can't be that bad.
So I want to kind of push us into. I said correction the other day, a course correction, and that got interpreted negatively.
I actually heard that one today, and I was
I
like,
to be very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because by the way, none of us are naked in here today. So
Pronounce my C's effectively.
I listened to that one. Yeah.
But
I was kind of leery about coming after that. So, yeah. I actually went to church this morning, prayed for you guys, and prayed for you.
yeah, we have
Please let
video
them all have that
evidence
page.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we talked about what got you here, getting that marathon, getting into CrossFit, getting into the different triathlon stuff, and how that affected your spiritual side of life, your walk with God, church, a lot of correlation there. But somewhere along the way, you opened a business.
Yeah.
And you work, and you're a dad, and you're a husband. How did you get to the CrossFit side? And I know Bryan's fixing to jump in here a second and ask a very profound question. I don't know what it is, but I can kind of feel it. But it's coming. But what did you do? How did you make that decision to own a gym? I mean, that's a big step.
Yeah, see, so the problem is I've never wanted to step on people's toes. So I went to a gym, and there was stuff that was being done at that gym that I personally didn't like. I wanted to see change, but you can't go to I'm not going to be one of those people that sit there and talk bad about it. It's like bringing donuts to the gym. I'm not really people laugh at me, but I don't like that because you have new, and the only reason why I don't like it is because you have new people come in there and you see all these people that are fit and they're like, oh, I can come here, eat donuts, and still look like them. Well, no, it's just a one-time deal. They just happen to bring donuts.
Yeah.
But that's a misconception for people. And that was one of the things I didn't like. And there was other things that I was very passionate about helping people when it comes to their health and wellness. I loved it. And so me and a buddy of mine that we co-own with, and he's like, hey, I call him, and last time I said this on a podcast, they actually made fun of me because the guy turned it around and said I was the eye candy, which was nothing that I meant by it. But he's the brains, and I'm just the guy. I'm just the guy that laughs and cut ups with everybody. I'm just the personality behind it, not the eye candy, just the guy behind it. So
I relate to that.
yeah, so we actually said, well, hey, I tell you what.
Hey guys, so which one
Here
of
he
us
goes,
is the
here he
brains, and which one of us is the brains, and which one of us is the personality, Garett?
I think I'm the personality. Sean's the brains, and you're the expert witness.
He has great. He has the hair candy.
Yes, he has the hair.
Excellent
Yes.
hair.
Yeah.
He does have the best hair.
I'm the
of all of us.
The hair candy. I like it. I'd rather be expert witness. I kind of like that one a bit. So I can actually tell you if it worked or not because I've tried all the dumb things in business.
We talked about the whole imposter syndrome thing. I'm not the brains. I'm just smart enough to keep my mouth shut and ask a couple questions.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm about to have to jump off though. I want to tell y'all I've really enjoyed this podcast, and I wish I was there in person because I have a lot of other things that I want to jump in and ask about. But I'll let you, especially when it came to your faith and how it affects your business. But I'd love to hear the story of how you opened the gym, and for our entrepreneurs out there that really just want to have that permission or to jump out and try a side hustle, and why is it important that it stays a side hustle and you keep your day-to-day job? Because a lot of people will quit their day-to-day job for a side hustle, and that's a terrible idea. It should grow into it. So if y'all speak into that, that'd be great, but I've got to jump off. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, pleasure to have you.
Yeah, man, it was nice talking to you again.
Bobby.
Gone, just like that.
Yeah, he just hung up.
No, so we that's whenever we got together and we was like, hey man, we had tossed it around about opening our own place for about a year or so, and we were both pretty nervous about it because I had owned a dirt construction business for a little bit, and I was never really I never liked that part of it. I never liked the business part. I always liked helping people. I owned when I had a dozer and track business. It was like I never would bid a job. It was by the hour. I was always scared. I never hired anybody because I was like, I wanted nobody. I didn't trust anyone to do stuff on my behalf.
Yeah.
And so I'll just, I'm me. And I'll answer for me.
I haven't met an entrepreneur that became one on purpose. Like, there's no college course to be an entrepreneur. It's like you look back after 10 years and you go, oh, I am one.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, see, and that's when we started so when we decided, hey, we're going to do this. So we said we're going to start off small, something that if we have to, we can foot the bill for this building. We'll buy equipment, with a little bit of equipment we can, do wherever we could. I believe we started off with like a barn $30,000, something like that, or whatever it was. Small, something that if we had to, we both could pay back. So it was like, hey, we just want a place at 10. All we need is 10 members, just 10 members, and if we have to pay the bill, we can pay the bill, but
very low expectations.
Yeah. So we was like, okay, whatever. So we ended up opening a small place. A guy said, hey man, I'll rent y'all a spot. So we went in there, cleaned it up, did everything we could, ordered all the stuff we needed, had it in. Actually, we opened the year of COVID. So we opened in January 28th of whatever year that was, and then COVID hit. So we fought it for a while, and we fought, closing the doors there. Everybody's like, hey, you need to close the doors. We stayed open until the last minute. And we ended up, luckily we had enough members. We had 20 members, I think, at the time, 20 or 30. And they said, hey, we'll stay with y'all. So we just kind of like loaned out our equipment and had them pay half rent or something like that. So it only lasted for about a month. They would come to the house on the weekends, and we would bootleg, like liquor. We would bootleg workouts on Saturdays. Yeah,
all kinds of bandit projects going on during COVID.
So we did that, and we opened up, and we opened back up after that, and then Hurricane Laura hits, and it blew out the bay doors. We have garage doors, and it blew it in, insulation all over the place. We were shut down for another month or two, and during that time, we had such a loyal group. We'd plug in a generator and backup truck in there because CrossFitters can't work out unless there's music. And so we'd play music, and we just have like everybody would say, hey, we're going to meet at the gym at this time, and we'd all work out. And then about a month later, I get a phone call. Actually, I had taken off of work because I had a fever, and I'm like, I probably got the COVID now. So
what do you call it? The
Woo flu.
Yeah. So the guy comes banging on my door at 4 a.m. I'm like, man, what's going on? And he's like, hey, you need to get to the gym. So-and-so just got hit by a drunk driver. And I was at the gym. There was one of our workouts right in front of the Baptist church in Moss Bluff. A 22-year-old kid rounds a corner at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, and clips one of the members and kills him. And so we all that in 1 year. And that's when I told my buddy, I was like, dude, if we survive this year, we can survive any year. We went through COVID, hurricane, and then I remember getting clipped and sued after that. So, and then now, 2 years later after that, we stayed there for about a year.
That sounds like building a house the first year you're married.
Yeah, for sure. And exactly. So we experienced all the worst at the beginning. And
Got out of the way.
Yeah.
So you just pile it on the front end.
Yeah, exactly. It's all can only go from one direction after that. And then so about a year later, a guy reached out to us and said, hey man, I'm gonna build y'all. I have a building here. I'd like to construct it however you guys would like. And it's 3 times the size we had before. And up to this point, we had probably tripled in memberships after about a year or two. And so we're like, we were already looking for a bigger place. It was starting to become a risk factor. I was nervous, and then trying to accommodate people, trying to satisfy everybody's needs. And so we ended up moving into a bigger building, about 3 times the size we got now. And we've been there ever since.
So what's the name of the gym?
Open Gym.
Open Gym.
Yeah.
And you've been open for
5 years.
5 years.
I thought it was 6, but it's actually 5.
And you're located in
Moss Bluff. Yeah.
I've gone a couple times as a Saturdays, right?
Yeah, Saturdays is free.
Yep, Saturday is free, Garett. It's a blast. You get your heart rate up.
That's my favorite price. $3.99 is my favorite price.
Exactly.
And now I understand why there's no donuts.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. Got a bottle of water, but no
Leave them in the
donuts.
car.
Yeah. That's right. Or you can go get them afterwards.
Can I bring my own donuts?
Yeah, for sure.
Bootleg them in the car.
You can do it, or you can do whatever you want.
So Okay, so if we're in the area and we wanted to check it out, what would we do? We would just.
You could just come on in and reach out. If you do reach out to me, my number's on the website.
Okay.
You can reach out to me. We'd ask that you get there even if you don't reach out, just get there 10 minutes early so you can sign the waivers, keep the legal side.
Yeah, and we're gonna put a copy of that link.
All right.
In the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and just come and everything. That's one thing about CrossFit. If you know, a lot of people, they want to sit there and they'll Google CrossFit or they'll look at it and you'll see the CrossFit Games. The CrossFit Games is nothing about CrossFit was actually designed, when it was really designed, it was for older people. It was actually to get you moving in its functional movements at high intensity. It's actual movements you'll be doing. If you'll notice there's no mirrors in our gym, it's because we want you to get kinesthetic awareness. Be aware.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm going to interrupt. I'm training for an Ironman right now, and I went to a local gym, and I swim on Monday, so I slip in there, and I didn't even I forgot my flip flops, so I had cowboy boots and my slacks and my nice shirt, and so I'm in my tri-kit shorts, so those spandex shorts. Yeah. And full quill ostrich cowboy boots, standing at the mirror, washing that's all I got on. And I'm got soap, rinsing my goggles out so they don't fog up. And this my 19-year-old kid comes in, and he's not like super lean, but he's big kid. And he is flexing, and I mean, looks like he's Captain America in there. And I was trying to do my goggles, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was trying to hold it together. I was like, dude, you're better shape. I mean, I don't know, you're bigger than I am. But I was like dying to not laugh, and I wanted to hey, let's go swim 2 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fixing to go swim 3,500 meters.
Exactly.
I don't. Can you do that? Can you actually use those muscles?
No, that's exactly right. And that's what, that's like the mirrors. That's what everybody's like. Well, I thought the mirrors were for the flex show, but it was like so people can actually see how they're moving. Well, in the real world, you don't have mirrors, so it's getting you how to actually move your body. I don't know how many classes I've coached before where I'm like, okay, pick your hips up, and people pick up their heads. I mean, it's kind of funny but people they don't relate it. So it's like, hey, when you're deadlifting just doesn't consist of picking up a barbell. A mother can be picking up a gallon of milk for their kids, and in improper form that's still weight. So that's what we like to do, is be able to teach people that, and that's what CrossFit's more about. CrossFit's more about getting you to move correctly and it becoming second nature.
So it's absolutely entry level.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we have people that are 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. Even if you have an ailment, like you have a shoulder issue, a knee issue, a hip issue, everything is just
you'll build around it.
Build around. That's what every class. Like you come to a class and there's a coach in there, and there's a workout for the day, and they'll scale it appropriately. Wherever your fitness level is, they'll meet you. You don't have to worry about going in. The best thing you can do is just leave the ego at the door, and then just go in there and accept whatever your fitness level is.
And so when you look on YouTube and you see this guy at the master, and let's talk about that. I want to end on that. It's not that you have to be that day one.
Yeah, no, not at all. I couldn't climb a rope.
You chose
on day
to
one.
do that.
Yeah, I couldn't even climb a rope on day one.
This has been a thing for you. Yeah. And so, tell us about that. So we this whole thing, the whole reason you're here, you went to the CrossFit Games in Alabama recently. So tell us about that, and take a few minutes, and what does that mean to somebody that doesn't have a clue what we're talking about?
All right, well, the CrossFit
Because it's a big deal. Whether you know it or not, it's a big deal.
The CrossFit Games starts worldwide. You have everyone that competes. It's called the Open, Worldwide Open. And you break down in divisions. So there was 17,000 people it started with. And so then everybody, they release workouts. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of like our at the gym, we have a Friday Night Lights. Everybody comes. But you do all the workouts worldwide. Everybody does the same workout. So then if you're good enough, you move to quarterfinals. Well, quarterfinals, they take the top 25%, would have been 2,000 people or 3,000 people, whatever it was. So it went from 17,000 to 3,000. So then you're like, okay, well, they've released another set of workouts. We have to video these workouts and submit your scores worldwide. And then you have the next stage would be semifinals. Well, the top 200 from the 3,000 go to the top 200 after that. Well, the top 200 from there, now they take the top 40. So if you make the top 200 after that, the top 40 actually go to the games. So
in the world.
Yeah, so you take 40 out of 70. You started with 17,000, and then you go down to 40. So this year was pretty cool because I actually got hosted. I went to in the CrossFit community, Mayhem CrossFit in Cookeville, Tennessee, and they actually invited me to go do semifinals up there, which is a big deal. And that's the first time. I mean, they actually sold shirts with my name on it and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I'm kind of like a sponsored athlete here. And so it was pretty cool. And community, that, like the support that actually that where we're talking about the family of it, with like it isn't like your regular Globo gym because you have such a community. I mean, I had 51 people go to Alabama to watch me compete at the CrossFit Games. So, I mean, I know you got pro athletes that have like thousands of spotters, but I'm no pro athlete. So I ended up qualifying. After semifinals, I was sitting 36th in the world, and then went to the games and got 24th. Where you go to the games, so you after semifinals, you start training pretty hard for about 3 months, and so it was working out at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 to about 6, and then after I'd get off of work, I'd go for a second session, and I was doing that 5 days a week, and then really watching everything I ate. You know, everybody, it got to the point where I was wanting people to come work out with me. I mean, I actually made a post that, hey, I'm begging for anybody to come work out with me. I mean, everything's scalable. So, I mean, Holly would come every day for the second session. And so, and then they ended up following me up there to Alabama for the games. But it was 10 workouts over 3 days. You had to do and compete. That was pretty stressful. That was actually a moment in my life where I had anxiety, nervousness, and actually I was embarrassed. Everybody's like, why are you embarrassed? I was so embarrassed because of had anxiety and nervous over something that was, who cares? I mean, you've signed up for this. You know, it was one of the things. But it ended up, the CrossFit had a camera crew that reached out to me and said, hey, we hear you have 50-something people coming to watch you. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, hey, we would like to document this whole journey. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that added a little bit.
Is this
more
where the eye candy came out?
No, the eye candy was in the podcast prior to that. Okay. Yeah. So they actually reached out to me and documented. They had a camera crew on me and on the fans, and they actually come to the house. And you know, I've seen stuff like that on TV and stuff like that, so it was pretty awkward. And you know, people riding in the car with a camera in your face. But yeah, so I was able to experience all that.
That's
awesome.
pretty
Cool. And that's what a lot of people. It had nothing to do with my athletic ability, is because I had such the family that I had coming up there with me.
So you went from a nothing, nobody with no future, no hope in Reeves, Louisiana, which Reeves is. Do they even have a caution light? I think
no, they don't.
No,
I don't. They don't call that a caution light.
Reeves
but
is
they have a police department
bustling
now.
metropolis.
Yeah, we had 21 people graduate with me. It wasn't because they all failed. It was 361 students from pre-K to the 12th grade.
So it's that size.
There's a Dollar General.
Yeah,
but they closed the other one down.
Did they?
The new one, I believe they shut it down. There's a burger barn and a mechanic.
Okay. Yeah, there's a mechanic shop for sure. When I ride my bike past there, I'm real careful because I'm worried about nails and screws and whatever.
Oh, you ride up there?
Sometimes.
Okay.
When I feel.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling
I used
dangerous,
to run all through there. Yeah.
I feel dangerous. There's a big loop, 117, about 70-mile loops.
Okay.
Yeah. So you went from there to 24th ranked in the world.
Yeah.
Am I get that right?
Yes, 24th.
I mean, and all along the way, raised a family, built a house, built a CrossFit gym, worked a full-time job.
That's correct.
And you've been married
20 years now.
20 years. So
yeah.
I would say that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, well, that's what. The journey still continues. So
yeah, every day, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to look like
nobody cares. Try harder.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? Work harder. And that's what my whole mentality going into this was. Who cares? You know, I'd sit there and say I've done this, done that, but at the end of the day, who cares? I mean, it doesn't. I mean, tomorrow's another day. Your accomplishments, you move on, and you plan for something else. That's like my son.
Everything we go ahead.
Like my son, he's in the military, and he was my biggest fan, and luckily my wife was able to FaceTime him whenever I was competing because he couldn't come. And I'm like, he's studying for something that's for his future. I mean, but then you have to set a tone for a minute. Like, I work for this, and my kids see this, and I'm just hoping that they see that and they understand that none of this was easy. And I'm pretty sure they don't,
but you've set the example. You've done it right. I mean, that's respectable. Absolutely respectable. And we've got a world-class athlete sitting here.
Yeah.
On the
No,
Faith
that's
and Hustle
great.
podcast.
I'm not ranked number 24 in anything.
Well, if it would, like, I have more people come up to me now and say, man, it's now you've inspired me to pursue something, or you've inspired me to step up my fitness game, or you've inspired me to eat a little better.
Yeah.
That's all and honestly, that's probably been, because that's ongoing. I mean, I did the CrossFit Games, and that was 3 weeks ago. But now every day when somebody comes up to you, or once a week somebody comes up and say, hey, you inspired me to do this, that's pretty cool.
Right. So that wasn't the apex of it. It's just the.
That's what
it's
gives me
just
the
a step.
platform.
It's a
Yeah.
step. Yeah.
Yeah.
So amazing, Garett.
My take on this whole thing and your whole story, we'll definitely have to bring you back, because I would like for you to dive more into the difficulties as a young guy and everything like that. But what I've taken is that you just kind of brushed over the fact that in life you were able to make these pivots when you know what I mean,
Yeah.
when you didn't know exactly where to go, and you just pivoted, and you were probably afraid in that moment, and you didn't communicate it, or your faith was just that great that you were allowed to pivot freely and not even realize you were pivoting, because you went from an electrician to a farmer to a rail, to a dirt guy to
No, and that's what. But that's what. Because when we were talking about earlier about being saved and stuff like that, for years I was like, man, I don't know. In Camp Pearl when I was 13, I remember. So I believe I was saved then. And then when I look back at my life, He was always with me.
Yeah.
Because of what you just said. Because of the fact that otherwise, whenever I moved out when I was 16, when I didn't have that stuff, I had every opportunity to do anything I wanted.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah, at 16, I would have not been driving to school every day.
And that's what I'm saying. So I can remember going to a ball field by myself at night and just sit there and I don't even know where I can remember this like it was yesterday. I don't remember a whole lot of my childhood, but I remember that. And I'd talk. I don't know who I was talking to. And when it hit me, okay, well, I was talking to him. He was with me. My father was with me the whole time.
I love that when both of you indicated this, and I biting my tongue when you were talking about it earlier. I've ran long races, long endurance stuff, no phone, and you do get to that point, and there's not every time, but there's times where I have some of the higher levels of communication or more clarity conversations with God, and it's a go-to. When you fall back on your relationship with Christ, that's an indicator that you might be a Christian.
Yeah.
When you're in a tough situation and that's the first place you go. I mean, that seems like that could be a good indicator.
Yeah.
And I love that I don't talk about that a lot myself, but I've experienced it, and to hear other people talk about that, when it's hard, when you're suffering physically, mentally, you're tired, exhausted, whatever the race you're running is, whether it's work, family, life, lean on God. Mm-hmm. He's there, and train yourself to go that direction. That's very important, and that's for me. All the stuff we do is great, but that might be the greatest takeaway of this entire session is, where do you go when it gets hard? Even if you put yourself in that situation on purpose, right?
No, exactly right.
Where do you go?
So yeah, I mean, like, do you go to a donut? Do you go to Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Where's your dark place?
Yeah, exactly. So good stuff. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no, that's fun. That's
Garett's going to go to CrossFit.
No,
I'm going to go to CrossFit.
Okay, I will try it once.
He just committed.
That's fine. But honestly, it's
Not
not
next Saturday,
I won't be here next Saturday.
I'll be in New York.
The thing about it is it's not everybody, and I don't push my gym. That's the reason why there's so many opportunities. There's more fast food places on every street corner. There should be a gym on every street corner, just like a church. I mean, it's like you all have talked before, and I've heard people say it. As long as you're getting fed there, stay there. And it's the same thing with fitness. I think if you're getting fed there, stay there. It's just you got to find that whatever that might be.
Yeah, I'm only getting fed
Getting it home.
donuts and pepper jack boot hand balls. Right?
A lot of wisdom in this podcast. We will. I'm sure we'll come up with a great name. It might be eye candy. It might not.
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna leave that one alone.
Leave that alone.
Yeah.
But great podcast. Thanks again for
thanks.
being here.
Yes.
I'm super grateful. I know Garett. I know Bryan couldn't be here.
Yeah,
Wish
cool.
he could have been here.
We'll
but,
definitely have you back.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Excellent.
All right.
The man, Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
And before we go, if anybody has an idea, if we struck a chord with anybody about a topic that you may want us to discuss, feel free to comment in below and just let us know. We'd love to have your feedback.